Well, hey, everybody, welcome to class. My name is Glenn Killian, and I am the instructor for this Counseling Theories class this summer. And I'm just glad that you have signed up and are joining me in this class for this first summer session. Many of you are brand new to me. I've never had you before in class, especially to you. I want to say welcome. Others of you are returning. Maybe you've had me before, either for another online class or in a face-to-face class. Either way, welcome to you. I'm glad that you are in this great class. This is actually one of my very favorite classes to teach, this Counseling Theories class. And because it's an online class, you're going to get used to seeing these videos like this one. This is a little welcome orientation video as we kind of get our class started. But you're going to be seeing a lot of me this way. And again, for those of you who are new to my online classes, you'll get used to that very, very quickly as far as how one of the main ways I kind of talk to you and get you the information that you basically need. But welcome aboard. I want to make sure as we kind of get the semester started that we are just kind of on the same page. And I want to review with you, if I can, just very, very quickly, is before you get started in the opening week module, a little bit of information about just kind of where we are and what we're going to be doing this summer. Obviously, this is a summer class, a summer online class. And I always say at the beginning of all of my summer classes that it really is important in any class to be organized. It's especially important in a summer class. Some of you may have had may have had summer classes or online summer classes, or maybe not. But if you've never taken a summer class or a summer school class before, you'll see very quickly that we move quickly. That's just the way it is because we have about 5.5 weeks or so to cover information that we normally cover in about 15 weeks. So obviously that's what summer school is all about. We get in quickly, we cover information quickly, and then we're done very, very quickly. It's one of the great benefits of a summer class. And so I just want to kind of highlight for you that it's going to be really important that you are getting organized, that you get a calendar out, that you look at the dates on the syllabus. If you've not already reviewed the syllabus, that's really one of my main things I want to say to you first is make sure you go and look at the syllabus and get a good feel for the due dates, for the assignments, all of that. I'm going to review some of that for you in just a second in this video. But the syllabus is important in any class. This is your first online class. I always say the syllabus is really important in an online class because it really is the guide, and it is your guide as to what we're going to be doing basically in the class. So go and get the syllabus, print it out, review it, however you want to do it, just to make sure that you're kind of familiar with kind of what we're doing in this class. So the Counseling Theories class is one of those core basic classes that everybody in our program in Human Services has to take. There are those core four, we call them the core four classes. There's group dynamics, there is basic counseling skills, orientation to social services, and this class, counseling theories. And so counseling theories, the term counseling theories, here's an easy way to think about it. A counseling theory is a helping approach. That's what a theory is. We'll talk more about that in the opening week module. And what we do in this class is we review some of the core foundational helping approaches that people have developed before us, our forefathers in the field of psychology, counseling, and human services, those men and women who have gone before us. They have learned through experience how to best work with people and their problems, especially in counseling, not just in counseling, but especially in counseling. Everything we're going to talk about in this class can apply not only to counseling, but to any kind of form of helping, really. And we learn from their experience. They have found what works and what doesn't work. And that's what these counseling theories are. They are approaches, different ways of working with different types of clients. That's what this class basically is about. So we're going to be reviewing in this class, if you look at the syllabus, you'll see some foundational, there's going to be 4 foundational approaches that we talk about in the class. There are a number of different helping approaches. In your textbook, which I'll talk about here in a second, the textbook. Your textbook lists probably 8, 9, 10 different foundational counseling theories. There's Adlerian theory, Gestalt therapy, there's person-centered theory, existential theory, family systems theory, behavior theory, cognitive behavior theory, there's a bunch, psychoanalytic, there's like 10, 11 that if you work in the field long enough, and if you go to school long enough, you study a little bit of all of them. What we do in this class, because it's a summer class, is I have pared it down, and we're going to cover 4. Now, we could cover 11, but if we did that, you wouldn't remember any of it, because it would just be so much information so fast, you wouldn't get any of it, right? So instead of trying to cover 11, what we're going to do is we're going to cover 4. We're going to cover what's called psychoanalytic theory or the psychoanalytic approach, psychoanalytic theory. We're going to cover what's called person-centered theory. We're going to cover cognitive behavior theory or CBT, and we're going to cover reality theory. So each of those 4 different theories are individual approaches. There are similarities and overlap between all 4 of them, but all of them are kind of distinct, and you'll see that very, very quickly. The first 2 theories we talk about, psychoanalytic theory, modules 1 and 2, and person-centered theory, modules 3 and 4, are very distinct. I'm not going to say they're different, but they're just they're 2 distinct ways of working with people and looking at behavior and looking at problems and looking at approaches and counseling and helping. They're kind of distinct. They're not totally different, but they're kind of unique from one another. So, and there's a reason for that. It's because that there's no one approach that works with every single person. People are diverse. Our world is diverse. People have different needs. They have different experiences. They have different personalities. Sometimes we work with kids. Sometimes we work with adults. We don't work with kids like we do adults because kids are not adults and adults are not kids. And so we have to vary our approaches. Some clients have certain experiences that because of that are a certain personality, and because of that, a certain approach works better than the others. So that's part of why it's really, really important, which we talk about in the opening week module. Very, very important for us to be familiar as helpers, as students, with a variety of approaches, not just one. So in this class, instead of covering 8, 9, 10, 11, we're going to cover 4 different theories, which are basically helping approaches. So the way it works is basically, if you've looked at the syllabus, here's kind of the way it works. So this first week, there's what is called the opening week module. So every week, there is a module or 2. A module is just a set of learning information, right? So this first week, there's the opening week module. Next week, we're going to start covering 2 modules per week. This first week, 1 module per week. Starting next week, there'll be 2 modules, module 1 and 2, module then 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7 and 8. So there's 8 modules as far as the theories, and if you count the opening week modules, actually 9. So this first week, there's the opening week module. And if you go into the opening week module, you'll see that what's in the module is a lecture video like this. There are some written lecture notes, basically. There are some handouts. There are some other videos that I've posted for you. And what your job is, if you've never had an online class before, is your job is to work through each of those modules. And you have a week to basically work through the opening week module, to study the information, to watch the videos and get a handle of what we're talking about, to go into the textbook and read the textbook information, and then to do a homework assignment. So at the end of this opening week module, there is a homework assignment that's due at the end of the week. And you'll see it in there, some questions that I want you to type up for me and drop into the Dropbox. Starting next week, there's going to be 2 modules per week. Modules 1 and 2 for next week. Modules 1 and 2, for example, cover psychoanalytic theory. Both of those modules cover psychoanalytic theory. And again, you'll have an entire week to work through both of those modules. This week, 1 module. Starting next week and for the rest of the semester, 2 modules per week. And again, each of those 2 modules, for example, starting next week, will have lecture videos, lecture notes, videos, handouts, little case scenarios, a bunch of stuff for you just to go in and kind of review. Will not take you very, very long, but you're going to want to stay organized and stay on top of it, right? And at the end of the week, there's going to be a homework assignment, just like there is this week. Now, the thing with starting with next week, there's going to be also too a quiz. Now, there's no quiz for this first week, but starting with modules 1 and 2, which is next week, you're also going to have a quiz to do. So at the end of each module, there's a homework assignment and there's a quiz that you'll do. And again, many of you have been in online classes before. If you've not, you'll get familiar very, very quickly with how to type up those assignments and drop them in the Dropbox and how to do the quizzes. And so there's going to be a quiz at the end of each of the modules that cover the theory. So quiz number 1, which covers modules 1 and 2, is going to be over psychoanalytic theory. And then quiz number 2, which is over the next 2 modules, will be over person-centered theory. So again, All of that I just said is outlined for you on the syllabus. So if any of that was confusing or you lost any of that, just go to the syllabus, look at the calendar, and you'll see the dates and when the modules become available and what's due. But that's just kind of how the class is organized, these different learning modules that you go in, they're available to you on certain dates, you read through, you study, you watch the video, you do a homework assignment, you do a quiz. And so with that in mind, one of the things I also want to highlight for you is the textbook. So one of the things in my online, in all of my online classes, I require basically the textbook because that's a part of how you learn. And so in the online class, this online class, this is our textbook. Yours might look a little bit different. This is called Theory and Practice of Counseling and Psychotherapy. It's written by a man named Gerald Corey. And what I have is the updated 10th edition. If you just buy the regular, I guess I'll say the standard 10th edition, that one's fine. This isn't updated. They just updated it. It's got some additional information in it. But you're going to need the textbook as you do the homework assignments, because in each homework assignment, not only do I have questions from the lecture, I also have some questions where I want you to get into the textbook and read, because the textbook, I always tell students, whatever textbook we use contains probably 3 or 4 or 5 more times information in it than I can give you in class. So it's always great to have, especially in an online class, to have a good textbook like this. This is a great textbook. It highlights, fits exactly what we're going to be talking about. Each of the different theories, there's 4 different theories. Each theory has a separate chapter in the textbook along with all the other theories. And by the way, too, if you're curious about Adlerian and Gestalt and family systems and all those other theories that we're not covering in class, this textbook is a great way to go ahead and start learning and reading about them, because it breaks it down. It's a very practical textbook. Gerald Corey, who wrote the book, is a very well-known counselor educator in our nation, and he's just got a unique way of just kind of taking these different approaches and kind of breaking them down so that they're easy for us to understand. I'm also going to try to do that as well too with each of the theories as we go through the different learning modules. So, opening week module this week. After that, 4 different theories across 8 different modules, 2 modules per week with a quiz and a homework assignment. And then there's also 2 additional things you're going to do for a grade. Let me mention that, and then we'll be done with this little intro video. So this first week, you just have homework. Basically, starting next week, you'll have homework and a quiz. When you finish module number 4, you're also going to do a discussion post. At module 4, module 3 and 4 cover are connected to person-centered theory. Person-centered theory, which you'll learn when we get to module number 3, was developed by a man named Carl Rogers, and maybe you've heard his name before. Carl Rogers is a name that oftentimes we talk about in our human services classes. He developed what's called person-centered theory, and one of the things you're going to do as a part of module number 4 is you're going to watch a video I'm going to post for you from YouTube of Dr. Rogers doing a counseling session, a 1-hour counseling session with a client. And I'm going to post for you some instructions on how to do that discussion post. You're going to watch that video, and then you're going to post for me and for the rest of the class just your observations, what you learned, what you liked, what you didn't like. And you'll see in the syllabus the due date for that. That discussion question will be posted for you when Module 3 opens. And so you're going to go in and post and watch the video, and then you're going to make a discussion post. Again, some of you in some online classes, you're familiar already with discussion posts. And so that's coming up in Module 4. You'll see that on the syllabus. And then at the very end of the class, there is what is called the My Theory paper. Now, the My Theory paper is a self-reflection paper. It's like the last thing you'll do in the class. And I don't have the assignment posted for you yet. It's due in July. But here in a couple of weeks, I will make that assignment available for you. You'll see it in the classroom. And I'll post a little introduction video like this one, where I give you some instruction on that paper. It's one of those papers that I don't want you to wait till the end to do. It's not due until the end. But this would be a paper that you don't want to start writing 2 days before it's due. Some of you are really good writers, and maybe you can kind of pull that. Maybe you can kind of pull that off. It's due in a couple of days. I'll start writing in a couple of days early. This is one of those papers you probably are not going to be able to do that with this paper. You're going to want to be working on it for a little bit. If you want to do it well, this is a paper I want you to think about, and you may need maybe not a lot of time, but you're going to need a little bit of time to put it together. And so here in a couple of weeks, I will post that assignment for you. I'll give you a written instruction sheet. The Dropbox will become available for you. And I'll also give you a little introduction, a little explanation video like this with that assignment. So be looking for that. But that My Theory paper, as you see in the syllabus, is not due until the end of the semester, which is just, again, in 5.5 weeks at the very beginning of July. So that is just a little overview of how the class basically works. All of that should be clear for you as you look at the syllabus, as you start working this week on your opening week module, as you do the homework assignment at the end of that's due at the end of the week, and you get ready next week to start doing 2 modules per week, reading through, looking at the videos, doing the homework, and then doing a quiz as well too. That's how the class works. I'm glad, again, you have signed up to take this class. The front page of the syllabus contains my contact information, my phone number, my Lone Star email address. You can also email me through the D2L classroom here. If you have any questions, if you have any problems, let me know. And what I'll do is I'll see you on the next video. And again, I'm glad you're in class. See you then.